Welcome to the Echo Dark Knight podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell me where you're speaking from. Today, for your personal deep dive, we're really unpacking a disturbing story. It's all about modern connection and, well, the shadows it can cast.
Yeah, the source material you shared, it really digs into the dark side of dating apps. It's not just about awkward dates, is it?
Not at all. We're looking at the experiences of a chef, Lucas Mercer, after he matched with a photographer, Vanessa Winters, on this app called Rendezvous.
Right, and what starts as, maybe promising, it spirals.
Fast.
Into harassment, sabotage, even this shocking thing about stolen culinary legacies. It's intense.
It really is. We're diving into obsession, revenge, and how fragile trust gets online.
Okay, let's get into it. The initial connection.
So Lucas, he's a restaurant owner in New Orleans, Maison, doing well, but, the demanding career thing, lonely.
Yeah, I get that. Relatable for a lot of people.
Exactly. So his sous chef, Dominic, kind of pushes him towards dating apps. He reluctantly joins Rendezvous.
And Vanessa's profile jumps out at him. It does. Artistic photos, intriguing bio, seem different. But that first message...
Oh, right. The callus thing. So specific.
Unnervingly specific. About a callus on his finger, visible in some distant photo. It's a lot, right from the start.
It really is. What does that signal to you, that level of observation?
Well, it's more than just noticing someone. It's intense scrutiny, isn't it? Makes you wonder. But their online chat, it flowed. Shared love for New Orleans.
Which can feel like a deep connection really fast, I suppose.
Too fast, maybe. They make plans to meet pretty quickly.
So the first date, Loa, seems okay on the surface.
Candlelight cocktails. Yeah. But their red flags are kind of there already if you look closely.
Like what?
Well, she makes these really perceptive comments about him, almost too perceptive. And she's carrying this old, non-working vintage camera.
Oh, yeah, the prop camera. What was the story with that?
She said it was a reminder of the importance of keeping records after her father died. A bit dramatic, maybe?
A bit. And she knew a lot about his restaurant, too.
Yeah, like more than just looking at the website. It's like she'd done some serious homework.
So Lucas probably just thought she was insightful, maybe a bit quirky.
Probably. You tend to give people the benefit of the doubt early on, right? Especially if there's a spark. But looking back, it feels calculated.
And then things got more intense over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, definitely. She always seemed to know his schedule. We just happened to show up where he was, like at his suppliers.
That's not coincidence after a while.
No. And she got really interested in his phone, started snooping.
And her excuse was?
Oh, the classic trust issues from a past relationship, which is often a way to deflect, isn't it?
Yeah, major red flag. And then the 3 a.m. incident.
Right. He wakes up, finds her scrolling through his phone, her excuse, ordering breakfast at 3 a.m.
Doesn't really track, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
That had to plant a real seed of unease for Lucas. That feeling of, wait, what's actually going on here?
Definitely. So he decides he needs to slow things down. Sensible.
Yeah. He tries to do the mature thing. Asks her to lunch, chooses a public place to talk.
And how does Vanessa take it?
Badly. Really badly. She just explodes, accuses him of seeing someone else, gets loud.
Oh, wow.
And then throws water on him in public.
Jeez, that's... Wow.
And as she leaves, she hits him with, "You'll regret this."
Chilling. And clearly she meant it.
She absolutely meant it. The very next day, the retaliation starts.
How? What happened?
He goes into his restaurant, Maison, and things are off. Subtle things. Chairs move, table settings wrong. Just enough to feel like someone's been there messing with his space.
That's deeply unsettling, designed to make him feel unsafe.
Exactly. And then the photograph. Pinned to his calendar.
The one of him sleeping.
Yeah. A photo of him asleep in her bed from when they were together. And across it, written in marker, "Watching."
Okay, that's terrifying. That's a direct threat. Proof she can get to him.
And proof she'd planned ahead, taken that photo. He called the police. Officer Thibodeau came, but
they couldn't do much. No forced entry. The rearranging wasn't technically a crime.
Right. They were skeptical, which unfortunately just gives her more room to escalate. And she does.
The online sabotage.
Yep. Suddenly, a flood of fake one-star reviews hits Yelp, Google, everywhere.
What kind of reviews?
Fabricated stuff. Disgusting details about lack of cleanliness, pests, things designed to kill a restaurant's reputation.
And could they trace it back to her?
The usernames were pretty telling. Things like V. Winter, Green-Eyed Girl. Not exactly subtle.
Wow. So it worked. It damaged the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Reservations plummeted. Local food bloggers started picking up the negative buzz. It was a really effective, brutal attack on his livelihood.
It shows how vulnerable businesses are to that kind of online attack.
Totally. And how easily it can be weaponized.
And then it got even worse, right? The financial attack.
Much worse. He discovers nearly $40,000 is just gone from his business account.
40,000? How?
Unauthorized online transfers. And the real kicker, they were made using his login credentials.
Oh no. So the bank.
The bank investigation is slow, difficult. Because technically, it looks like he made the transfers. There's little immediate hope of getting the money back.
That's devastating. How did she get his credentials?
Likely from the phone, snooping earlier. Maybe installed spyware. We'll get to that.
Spyware. Yep.
And on top of the theft, he starts getting calls about huge deliveries he never ordered, services he never requested, all billed to his business accounts.
So just piling on the financial pressure and chaos.
Exactly. A multi-pronged attack designed to absolutely cripple him.
And the digital invasion didn't stop there.
Nope. His personal social media accounts get hacked, altered with bizarre, offensive stuff.
Oh, man.
And then his restaurant's Facebook page suddenly announces it's closing permanently. False, of course, but incredibly damaging.
It's becoming clear she has deep access to his entire digital life.
Yeah, the spyware theory looks more and more likely. Something on his phone, maybe his computer, giving her access to everything. Passwords, emails, everything.
And the final blow, the lease.
The final blow, his landlord contacts him. Says they received an email, seemingly from Lucas, terminating the restaurant's lease, with a forged signature.
Unbelievable. She's literally trying to dismantle his entire life piece by piece.
Systematically, it's pure obsessive destruction.
So Lucas must be at rock bottom. Then what?
He gets a cryptic message from Vanessa, demanding a meeting. At Lafitte's blacksmith shop, of all places, oldest bar in the U.S., supposedly haunted, very atmospheric.
And he goes.
He feels he has to. He needs answers. And there, she finally reveals her motive.
Which is?
She believes Lucas stole his signature dish, the black roux gumbo, from her brother, Adrian Mercier.
Her brother, who she said was dead.
Exactly. Adrian Mercier, chef in Atlanta.
Yeah.
She claims Lucas stole the recipe from him before he died. She even has this old notebook, supposedly Adrian's, as proof.
Wow, so this whole campaign, it's about a gumbo recipe.
That's what she claims. She demands Lucas publicly admit it, pay her financial compensation, and sign over ownership of his restaurant, Maison, to her.
She wants a restaurant.
Yes. As compensation for the stolen legacy. It's a stunning revelation. Totally reframes everything.
Okay, that is a twist. So what does Lucas do? Does he even know an Adrian Mercier?
He's blindsided. He starts digging, and he finds out, yes, Adrian Mercier was a real chef in Atlanta, a restaurant called Provenance. Died in a suspicious restaurant fire 6 years ago, and he was known for his signature black roux gumbo.
Whoa, so Vanessa's claim, it might have some basis.
Well, Lucas didn't know Adrian, but he thinks about where he learned the black roux technique from his mentor in France, Chef Leclerc.
So he contacts Leclerc.
He does, and Leclerc,
Yeah.
he admits it. He did learn the technique from Adrian Mercier in Atlanta years ago, but he never mentioned Adrian. He sort of presented it as his own innovation when he taught Lucas.
Oh my God. So Lucas was using Adrian's technique just unknowingly because his mentor essentially plagiarized it.
That seems to be the case. Leclerc passed it off as his own, which means Vanessa's core accusation that the recipe originated with her brother is actually true, even if Lucas wasn't aware.
That's incredibly complex. The ethics of influence, mentorship, Leclerc really failed there.
Massively. He put Lucas in an impossible position. But it gets even more complicated.
Oh.
Lucas keeps digging. He finds reports of other chefs, one in Chicago, one in San Francisco, who also had connections to Adrian's cooking through Leclerc or other avenues. And guess what?
They were targeted by Vanessa, too.
Exactly. Similar patterns of harassment, online sabotage. This wasn't just about Lucas. It was a systematic campaign against anyone she thought benefited from Adrian's work.
She's been doing this for years.
Apparently. And he finds an old social media post from Vanessa where she heavily implies she doesn't believe her brother's death in the fire was an accident.
Suggesting foul play, maybe involving Leclerc.
That seems to be her belief. That Leclerc didn't just steal the recipe, but maybe he was involved in the fire. Which adds this whole other layer of potential danger and motives.
This is spiraling. So another meeting.
Another meeting, this time late at night at the Peristyle in City Park. Another dramatic location.
And she reveals more.
Oh yeah. She claims she has a hidden memory card. From the security cameras at Adrian's restaurant, Provenance, just before the fire.
And what's supposedly on it?
She says it shows someone tampering with the gas line the night before the fire. And she heavily implies it was Leclerc.
Does she actually have this footage, or is she just saying it?
It's hard to know for sure at this point, but she believes it. She fully admits she's been targeting chefs, Lucas included, because she sees them as profiting from her brother's stolen legacy and possibly his murder. She thinks she's delivering justice.
Wow. Her own twisted sense of justice.
Completely. And then she makes Lucas this bizarre offer.
What is it?
She'll call off the attacks, maybe even help restore his reputation. If he signs Maison over to her, she'll rebrand it as Provenance in honor of Adrian. And Lucas. He can stay on as head chef. Under her, of course.
That is warped. Sign over his life's work to the person destroying it and work for her.
It's the ultimate control move, packaged as some kind of resolution. But then,
Go on.
the biggest twist happens. As they're talking, a man steps out of the shadows.
Who? Leclerc.
No, it's Adrian Mercia.
What? Her brother. He's alive.
Alive. He survived the fire 6 years ago. Badly burned, but alive.
But Vanessa said he was dead. This whole thing was about his death.
Exactly. Adrian explains. Vanessa found him after the fire, convinced him someone had tried to murder him, probably Leclerc. She told him he needed to fake his death for his own safety.
She orchestrated his disappearance.
Yes, she kept him hidden, isolated, feeding his fear and paranoia for 6 years, controlling him completely.
That is unbelievably manipulative. Why?
To fuel her own narrative, to control his legacy, and Adrian confirms it. Vanessa has been systematically targeting chefs, using dating apps like Rendezvous to find chefs who might have a connection to his techniques, get close to them, and then destroy them.
Using the dating app algorithms to hunt people down for revenge.
Precisely. It's chillingly calculated.
But why this obsession? Just the recipe. It seems like more.
It is more.
Yeah.
Adrian explains their family history. Their father was a talented jazz musician in New Orleans, and he was exploited. His music stolen, never got the credit or compensation he deserved. It deeply affected Vanessa.
So she developed this deep-seated belief.
That their family's creative talents would always be stolen, that people would always exploit them. So when Adrian nearly died, and she convinced herself Leclerc was involved and stealing his recipes.
It tapped into that old wound, and she saw all these other chefs as complicit in the theft, maybe even the murder.
Exactly. It became this crusade, fueled by past trauma and present paranoia, to reclaim what she believed was stolen and punish everyone involved.
So how does it end? Adrian's there, Vanessa's exposed.
Well, Vanessa doesn't take being exposed well. She actually pulls out a pistol.
No.
Yeah, it gets incredibly tense. But Lucas had anticipated trouble, brought his sous chef, Dominic, and a friend, Zoe, and Adrian is there. Between them, and thankfully the police arriving, alerted beforehand, they managed to de-escalate. Vanessa is apprehended.
Thank God. What happens then for Lucas and Adrian?
Adrian publicly comes forward, supports Lucas, explains the situation with Leclerc, the manipulation by Vanessa. He acknowledges how recipes evolve, influence spreads. It's not simple theft.
That must have been huge for Lucas's reputation.
Absolutely. It helped undo a lot of the damage Vanessa caused online. The truth came out.
And Maison, the restaurant.
They actually ended up collaborating. Lucas and Adrian, they held a special culinary evolution event at Maison, acknowledging Adrian's foundational work, but also Lucas's own innovation.
Wow, forming a partnership after all that.
Yeah, a genuine one, honoring the past, but moving forward. They successfully reopened, eventually rebranded slightly, focusing on integrity and the true story. It's a remarkable turnaround.
What a journey. From a dating app match to near total destruction, and then this unexpected partnership and reclamation.
It really shows the extremes, doesn't it? The dark potential of online connections when obsession takes hold, the fragility of digital trust.
Definitely. That idea of using dating apps specifically to target people based on their profession or background, that's deeply unsettling, raises huge questions about digital vulnerability.
And the whole theme of artistic legacy, influence versus theft in creative fields like cooking. There's so much to unpack there.
It makes you think about the digital footprints we leave and how important it is to, well, verify who you're connecting with. You just never know what's behind the profile.
True. What really stood out to you the most in all this?
For me, I think it was the sheer depth of the manipulation, convincing her own brother he was dead for 6 years. That level of control is just mind-boggling, and the resilience shown by Lucas and Adrian in the end.
Yeah. It's a story with darkness, but also ultimately about finding a path forward through truth and collaboration.
A really compelling, if disturbing, deep dive today. Lots to think about regarding our online lives and the echoes of the past. And on that note, we wrap up this deep dive.
Welcome to the Echo Dark Knight podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell me where you're speaking from. Today, we're diving deep into a stack of information, really looking at some disturbing stories linked to dating apps. We're focusing on one particular extended narrative that you shared with us, and our mission here is basically to unpack the crucial insights and maybe help understand the potential hidden dangers, the ones lurking within these platforms that seem so straightforward.
Right. And the main source we're digging into today, it's a fictionalized account titled Disturbing Stories of Dating Apps. It follows a character, Eliza Wright, and her experience after she matches with this guy, Julian, on an app in Seattle. So we'll trace their, initial connection, look closely at the subtle red flags popping up.
Yeah, those little things you might miss.
Exactly. And then we'll get into the disturbing revelations that come out later.
Yeah. The goal really is to give you, the listener, a clearer picture of how these positive online interactions can sometimes hide something else.
Something manipulative, potentially dangerous.
Yeah. It's all about just sharpening our awareness in this digital dating world. Okay, so let's start with Eliza. Where's she at in her life?
Okay, so Eliza, she's new to Seattle. She's an ER nurse, which means, crazy demanding hours.
Right, cuff job.
And she's looking for connection, which is pretty understandable given the circumstances. Being new, the job stress.
Makes sense. You'd want to build a social life fast.
And dating apps seem like an efficient way to do that. But that desire, that need for connection, well, it can be exploited sometimes, as we'll see.
And then, boom, Julian's profile pops up. Looks good on the surface, right? Consultant, likes hiking, classic movies.
Ticking boxes, yeah.
And his first message isn't just, hey. He actually references her bio, something about Florence Nightingale and Florence plus the machine.
He does. And that personalization right away, it suggests, a deliberate effort. He's not just swiping, he's paying attention.
Like a strong first impression.
Definitely. It builds rapport quickly.
And their online chat, it just flows. He asks good questions about her job, but avoids the ghoulish parts.
Yeah, he's sensitive to that. Understands her schedule too, makes her laugh. It feels effortless.
Which can be disarming.
It really can. Mirroring her style, showing empathy, using humor. It creates comfort, lowers the guard, builds trust maybe a bit too fast.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
So they plan the first date. Coffee. Analog coffee in Capitol Hill. Public place.
Smart. And Eliza takes precautions, tells her friend Tara, shares her location, has an emergency call plan. She's aware.
She is. She's being responsible, doing the right things.
Absolutely crucial steps when meeting someone new from an app.
And the meetup itself, it goes well, seemingly. Julian looks like his pictures.
Always a plus.
And he remembers her coffee order. Earl Grey with lemon.
Wow, that's specific.
Right. That attention to detail continues. Conversation's easy, just like online.
So the consistency is there. Online persona matches offline. That reinforces the good feeling, the trust, remembering the drink. It makes him seem really attentive.
And then he drops this little detail. Says he did some consulting work for Northwest Memorial. That's her hospital. Yeah, about 6 months back. Something about securing the patient portal. Small world, she thinks.
Okay, that's interesting. Creates a connection, it makes him seem less like a total stranger. But yeah, that detail definitely comes back later.
Things progress. Second date, Japanese place in Fremont. And this is where his attentiveness starts feeling a bit much.
How so?
He knows she likes onigiri, says he saw it on her Instagram. But she doesn't remember sharing that with him directly.
Okay, that's a subtle shift. It could just be him being observant, but knowing something specific from social media she doesn't recall mentioning.
Feels a bit like research.
It suggests he's actively gathering info, maybe beyond what she realizes she's putting out there. Little flag, maybe just yellow for now.
He also talks about his work, consulting on sensitive systems, lots of travel, how lonely it gets.
The vulnerability play.
Right. Building empathy, showing a softer side, makes him seem more human.
And encourages her to open up more, deepen that connection emotionally. It's a common tactic.
And the attentiveness just keeps ramping up. Remembers everything. Her favorite flower is ranunculus, the coffee order, obviously. Even a childhood nickname she barely mentioned.
Wow.
Sends thoughtful texts after her shifts, brings her books, makes playlists. It's almost overwhelming.
Overwhelmingly perfect, yeah. And while it seems romantic, that level of detail, that constant attention, it can sometimes feel, calculated.
Like he's keeping score.
Or creating a sense of obligation. As her friend Tara jokes later, maybe he does have a spreadsheet.
Yeah, Tara, she's the one who first kind of voices the doubt, right?
Right.
Makes the spreadsheet joke, but then asks us a really good question.
Which is,
Why does this guy, this supposed security consultant, have basically zero online presence?
yes, that's a big one. In cybersecurity, you'd expect something. A blog, LinkedIn, conference talks, something.
Right. Being that invisible is suspicious in that field.
It really is. Suggests he might be deliberately untraceable. Or maybe the job title isn't quite accurate.
So Eliza looks him up herself and finds pretty much nothing. Basic LinkedIn, quiet Facebook, no real professional footprint for Julian Reeves, security consultant.
Confirms Tara's hunch. While some people value privacy, this level of absence for someone claiming that job, it definitely raises more questions about who he really is.
And she visits his apartment for the first time, South Lake Union, high-rise, sleek, modern.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah, but sterile. No personal touches, no family photos, no knickknacks, nothing that says, this is my life. Feels like a stage set.
Again, some people are minimalist, but a total lack of personal history on display. It can suggest someone's hiding something or just presenting a very controlled image.
Even his closet and bathroom are, like, meticulously organized, almost unnervingly so.
Control freak vibes.
Maybe. And then his bookshelf. It's eclectic.
Okay.
You've got heavy-duty cybersecurity manuals right next to the literary fiction, philosophy, and a whole section on psychology and behavioral analysis.
Ooh, that's telling. The psychology books, alongside the tech skills. That points towards an interest in, well, understanding and maybe manipulating people.
They even talk about one of those books, The Psychology of Persuasion and Social Engineering. He explains it as, manipulating people for access.
And how does he seem when he talks about it?
Intense. She specifically knows his intense gaze. It's framed as this academic chat, but there's an undercurrent.
Like he knows it a little too well. Maybe he enjoys the idea. A hidden warning sign in plain sight.
Even when things get intimate, she starts feeling hyper-aware. Notices his movements are almost studied, controlled, like he's performing intimacy, not feeling it.
That suggests a lack of genuine connection, right? If it feels calculated even in private moments, it points towards control, not real closeness. Adds to her unease.
And then one morning, he goes for a run. She notices his bedside drawer is slightly open.
Uh-oh.
Looks inside, sees a notebook, a pen, and some kind of electronic device she doesn't recognize. She shuts it quick, doesn't want him to know she saw. But yeah, that plants a real seed of suspicion. What is he doing with that stuff?
Notebook, device, suggests recording, documenting something. And her hiding it shows she's starting to distrust him actively.
So now all these little things, they start adding up in her mind. The perfect profile, the methodical messages.
The weirdly specific knowledge.
Exactly. And she remembered this patient she had, controlled by a partner who seemed so thoughtful on the surface. That parallel feels really disturbing now.
That's her ER experience giving her context, seeing patterns, realizing that thoughtfulness can be a mask for control, a critical moment for her.
And then the clincher. A text from Julian, asking about her cat, Milo, specifically about his dinner habits.
Okay.
It's a detail she knows she never told him, ever.
That's concrete. That's not just observation or a lucky guess. He knows something he shouldn't. How?
Right. It shatters the illusion, confirms the fear. He has access to information. Somehow.
Surveillance seems likely now.
So she decides she needs space, tells him.
Yeah.
And his reaction.
What does he do?
He's just immediately accepting. Like, okay, take all the time you need. No questions, no pushback, which feels
off.
Yeah.
You'd expect some emotion, some discussion if the connection was real. His easy acceptance is unsettling. Like he expected it or doesn't need direct contact to maintain whatever he's doing.
Then things get really serious. At work, unauthorized access to a patient's medical records. Tommy Jenkins, traced to her login.
Oh no, that's bad.
Very bad. Hospital IT investigates, finds weeks of unusual access patterns linked to her account, mostly looking at young female patient records.
Oh wow, targeted?
And the result. Eliza's put on administrative leave. Her job's on the line.
Huge consequences. And incredibly stressful, makes her vulnerable.
Pyra, her friend, immediately points the finger. It has to be Julian. But Eliza, she still finds it hard to believe. It's a massive leap.
Understandable. Accusing someone you've been intimate with of something that serious, it takes a lot to accept. But the evidence is mounting.
And it keeps mounting at home, too. Finds her laptop open one day. She knows she closed it.
Physical intrusion.
Looks like it. Then failed login attempts, email, online banking, and weird messages on social media. Her whole digital life feels like it's under siege.
So it's escalating. Physical breach, suggested by the laptop, ongoing digital attacks. It's not just suspicion anymore.
And then the absolute horror discovery. Checks her cloud storage, finds photos of the inside of her apartment, screenshots of her texts, detailed notes about her schedule, her habits, everything.
That's terrifying. Systematic invasive surveillance, proof positive. This is stalking.
It's way beyond just a bad date. This is calculated obsessive control.
And the final nail in his story's coffin. She calls HR at the hospital, talks to Maria. Northwest Memorial has no record of ever hiring a Julian Reeves as a consultant. The security audit, she remembered. Done by a different company, CyberShield Inc. Lead consultant was Garrett Wilson.
The whole connection to her hospital was a lie.
A complete fabrication, a calculated move to build trust, maybe gain access, and just as she confirms this, his dating profile vanishes.
He knows. Or suspects he's been found out, covering his tracks.
Exactly.
So Eliza is understandably terrified, calls Tara, tells her everything.
Good, she needs support.
They start searching online forums, looking for similar stories, and they find one, a post about a guy named Adrian. Same pattern, same methods.
Oh my God.
And other names pop up too.
Jason.
Jeremy. It's clear, she's not the first. He's done this before, using different names.
That confirms it's a pattern. He's a serial manipulator, maybe worse. The danger feels much more real now.
And then it gets really scary. A text comes through,
Right.
unknown number. It's a photo of Tara's apartment building.
No way.
And a message demanding Eliza come home. And it mentions Rebecca, Allison, Christina, the usernames from the forum.
He knows they're onto him. He's watching them, and he's escalating to direct threats. This is incredibly dangerous.
She calls the police. They listen, they take it seriously, but their hands are a bit tied without, an immediate physical threat happening right then. They offer a restraining order.
Which is necessary, but hard to enforce against someone like this, who clearly ignores boundaries and laws. It's a tough spot legally sometimes before something worse happens.
Then another attempt to manipulate her. A fake email. Looks like it's from Karsten Wright, head of hospital security. Says she needs to come to the hospital right away.
He's trying to lure her out.
Yeah. She calls Carson directly. He confirms, nope, didn't send that. Julian's getting desperate, trying to get her alone.
Using impersonation now, too. That's a serious escalation.
So a plan forms. The police agree to set up surveillance inside Eliza's apartment.
Okay, good. Proactive.
Eliza texts Julian, says she's scared, confused, needs to talk face to face.
Laying the trap.
He bites, but he's paranoid. Demand proof she's alone.
Yeah.
Wants a video pan of her apartment.
His need for control is absolute, but it plays into their hands.
He shows up. Eliza confronts him. I know about the hacking. I know you were in my apartment. I know you lied.
Right to his face. Powerful.
His excuses are chilling. Says he did it to know her completely. Argues privacy is an illusion anyway. Tries to compare his stalking to her ER work somehow.
Twisted logic. Deflecting, rationalizing horrific behavior.
Dismisses consent entirely. Mentions the other women's names again. And admits his real name is Julian Mercer, but yeah, he uses others.
The mask is completely off, revealing that disturbed, manipulative core.
Eliza stands firm. I do not consent. Leave. Never contact me again. Clear boundary.
Essential. Reclaiming her power, her autonomy, no ambiguity.
His whole demeanor shifts then. Gets angry. Accuses her of being manipulated. Makes veiled threats. Our lives are so intertwined, hints he could expose things about her.
The classic abuser tactic. Flip the script, threaten, intimidate when control is lost.
He even admits he deliberately exploited her vulnerabilities to keep the bond.
Wow, just admits the manipulation, confirms everything.
And right then, the police, who've been listening, move in, arrest him.
Finally, the immediate threat is neutralized.
Yeah. And this search of his car afterwards turns up surveillance gear, burner phones, hacking tools.
All the equipment. Confirms the extent of it.
His background check shows real cyber skills, but also dismissed from a job for ethical violations. No surprise there. The pattern across victims is undeniable. Motive, coercive control, psychological dominance.
It wasn't about love or connection. It was about power. Pure and simple.
They find detailed files on Eliza and the others, including a contingencies document outlining what he'd do if she resisted.
Chillingly premeditated, planned responses to maintain control.
The hospital clears her name, thankfully, but the psychological toll is immense. Therapy, a long road.
Understandably, that kind of violation leaves deep scars.
But she turns it into something positive eventually. Advocacy work, digital security, technological abuse. Then she hears from another nurse. Her sister went through something similar.
God, it highlights how widespread this stuff can be. Not isolated incidents at all.
In the end, Eliza does create a new dating profile. Brave move, but with major boundaries now. Huge awareness. She doesn't let him win by closing herself off, but she's vigilant.
That's resilience. Choosing to move forward, but smarter, more cautious, not letting the trauma define her future connections.
And that's the stark message here, isn't it? Technology has vulnerabilities, and we have to be vigilant. We have to be resilient and reclaim our autonomy.
Absolutely. This deep dive into Eliza's story, it really just lays bare that dark side of trying to connect online. How fast perceived closeness can turn into something invasive, something terrifying.
So for you, listening, it just hammers home that need for awareness. In all digital spaces, really, but especially the ones built for sharing personal stuff.
And think about those early red flags Eliza saw, the ones that maybe seemed small at first.
Yeah, the too perfect attention.
Knowing things she didn't share directly.
The vague job story.
Right. Flattering, maybe, initially, but they were signs of that deeper manipulative pattern.
And this idea of our digital footprint that he exploited is huge. What are we all putting out there without maybe thinking about it?
How can seemingly random bits of info be pieced together? Everyone should probably check their privacy settings, Be mindful of what details you share.
Definitely. And look, while this story is fictionalized, the reality is this happens. Online harassment, stalking, abuse, it's real.
Very real. So if any of this resonates, if it sounds familiar from your life or someone you know, please reach out. Friends, family, professional groups, there's help available. You're not alone in this.
And the ending, with Eliza choosing to move forward, cautiously optimistic. That shows the importance of resilience, of taking back control.
It does. Despite the fear, the violation, she rebuilds, redefines her boundaries. It shows it's possible, even after something awful.
So what part of Eliza's story really stuck with you? What questions does it bring up about your own online life, your own safety practices?
Yeah, worth reflecting on those. Maybe look up some resources on online safety, digital wellness. Thanks for joining us on this pretty intense deep dive.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe consider this final thought. As our digital and real lives get more and more tangled, how do we, as a society, build a safer online culture?
How do we get better at spotting manipulation, respecting privacy, and dealing with this kind of behavior effectively? Something to think about. Welcome to the Echo Dark Night podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell me where you're speaking from. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something pretty disturbing, actually. It's a collection of stories, well, one story in particular, about dating apps, and it really pulls back the curtain on some of the darker sides of looking for connections online.
Absolutely. It's quite a harrowing account.
Yeah. So our mission today is basically to unpack what happened, look at the core issues, and, figure out the key takeaways for you, the learner. We want you to be able to grasp these kinds of complex situations quickly, thoroughly, without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Exactly. We're looking at how something that starts so normally, just trying to meet someone, can twist into, something terrifying. Surveillance, manipulation. It's fascinating and scary how those first few swipes, those initial messages, can lead down such a dark path without you even realizing it.
Understanding those early signs is key, isn't it? And how things can escalate so fast. Okay, so let's get into it. The story centers on Sophia Reeves, recently single. And her friend Mia is, encouraging her to get back out there, try the dating apps. Sounds familiar, right?
Very relatable. That post-breakup phase, maybe a bit vulnerable, friends trying to help.
Right. So Sophia's a bit reluctant, but one night, late night, she starts swiping.
In that late night swiping, it feels harmless, maybe even a bit like reclaiming something, but maybe your guard is down a little too.
And then, boom, a mesh. Alex Mitchell, 34, software developer. The profile sounds pretty standard, actually. Genuine smile, simple bio.
And crucially, none of those immediate turnoffs, right? No shirtless gym selfies, no holding up a giant fish, no vague crypto bro talk.
Exactly. So on the surface, it looks fine, maybe even promising.
Which is how these things often start. You see the good stuff, the absence of obvious bad stuff, and you feel a bit safer. It's easy to curate that online image.
Totally. And the match is instant. He messages her right away, something like, I was beginning to think algorithms were broken.
A bit cheesy, maybe. But probably effective in the moment. Plays on that shared experience of app fatigue.
Yeah.
Makes it feel like, maybe this connection is different.
Yeah, it creates that little spark. And their first chats, they seem good too. They talk about creative insomnia, post-breakup reentry, find some common ground, films, pets, the usual stuff.
Building that initial rapport,
Yeah.
finding shared experiences,
And it moves quickly. They plan a coffee date for the very next evening.
which, again, can feel exciting. Like, wow, this is moving forward.
Yeah.
But looking back, maybe a bit fast.
Well, Sophia definitely felt that initial excitement, that hope, that maybe Mia was right. Maybe this was a good way to move on.
That hope is powerful. It can make you want to believe the best.
So the coffee shop meeting, Alex is there reading, wait for it, House of Leaves.
Oh, interesting choice. That book is famously unsettling, complex, labyrinthine.
Right. And they apparently talked about horror that gets under your skin. It's almost a little on the nose in hindsight.
It could be. Maybe testing the waters, seeing how she reacts to darker themes. Or maybe just a genuine shared interest. Hard to say at that point.
The conversation flows, though. Coffee turns into dinner. Sophia's feeling that strong initial connection.
That click moment, it's intoxicating. And it can definitely make you overlook things later because you're anchored to that first positive feeling.
Then they have a kiss after the date. Good sign, usually. But Alex immediately asks to see her again, like tomorrow.
Whoa, okay. Intense.
Yeah. Sophia had plans, so they set something for Saturday. But she later admitted that intense eagerness, it pinged something in her head. A little warning bell she ignored.
That's easy to do, though. You can rationalize it as just being really keen. But yeah, that level of intensity right off the bat can be a sign of something else. Neediness, maybe possessiveness.
So naturally, she tells her friend Mia about the date. Calls him actually kind of amazing.
And Mia, being the good friend, throws in that joke, right? Mr. Perfect, serial killer, or just boring?
Yeah. Just that little reality check friends give you. Ironically, kind of insightful.
Very. Because things get weird fast.
Okay, this is where it turns. Sophia gets home. And almost immediately, Alex follows her on Instagram.
Okay.
And within 30 minutes, he's like 15 of her photos. 15.
Whoa. Okay, wait. Did she give him her Instagram handle?
Nope, never shared it.
Right. That's not enthusiastic. That's digging. That's a boundary cross, big time. How did he even find it so quickly?
Exactly. That's the unsettling part. It shows he went looking hard.
Huge red flag. Huge.
And then the DM comes through. Hope you don't mind me finding you here. I wanted to see more of your world.
Trying to frame stalking as romantic interest, it's manipulative.
It really is. Because even if her profile was public, him actively seeking it out and deep diving immediately after one date without her mentioning it, it's intrusive.
It suggests a need for information she wasn't offering yet. A need for control, maybe?
And it gets worse. The next message. He mentions her neighborhood being sketchy at night.
But she never told him where she lived.
Never. Not a clue how he knew that.
Okay, that is genuinely alarming. That's not just online snooping. That implies he figured out her address somehow after one date. That's serious escalation.
Yeah. Major breach of privacy. Huge cause for alarm bells to be ringing loud.
Absolutely. This is way beyond normal dating behavior.
So let's jump forward about 3 weeks. Sophia's starting to feel smothered.
The communications.
Constantly. Good morning texts, check-ins during the day, long chats at night, and this sort of subtle pressure, to respond right away.
Yeah, that pattern can feel like caring at first, but it quickly becomes about control. Establishing that constant presence, that expectation of availability. It's a form of digital leash.
Then there's a specific incident. She mentions hanging out with friends, including Mia and Mia's friend Aiden.
Okay.
Alex gets weird about Aiden. Questions who he is, expresses suspicion, even though she just said friends. Plural.
Possessive. Insecure. Seeing any other man, even a friend of a friend in a group setting, as a threat already, that's not healthy.
And then he drops this. He mentions Aiden commenting on her Instagram posts last month.
Before they were even properly dating.
Exactly, something Sophia barely remembered and definitely hadn't mentioned.
So he wasn't just looking at her current stuff. He went back. He was scrutinizing her past online activity. That confirms the deep dive wasn't a one-off. He's been monitoring her.
Yeah, it raises serious questions about how long he'd been watching her online, maybe even before they matched.
Creepy.
So
Seriously creepy.
the whole thing really comes to a head when Sophia doesn't answer her phone for like an hour. Just 1 hour.
And his reaction.
Off the charts. 6 missed calls. Texts getting more and more frantic. Worry. Then offering to come to her office.
Whoa.
Then apologies. Then claiming he almost called the police because he cares so much.
Oh, that's classic manipulation.
Yeah.
Creating a crisis, making her feel guilty, positioning himself as the concerned partner. but it's about control and inducing anxiety.
Totally. So Sophia's had enough. She cancels their dinner plans for that night. So she has a headache.
A perfectly reasonable excuse.
But Alex still pushes, offers to come over to her apartment anyway, even though she said no.
Complete boundary violation.
Yep.
No respect for her saying no or needing space. It's all about his needs.
That's the final straw for her. She calls Mia, says she's done, she needs to end it. His intensity is just suffocating.
Understandable. It's gone way beyond enthusiastic into something genuinely alarming.
So the breakup happens. Same coffee shop as the first date. She tries to explain calmly why it's not working, why she feels overwhelmed.
And his reaction?
Immediately defensive. Is this because of Aiden?
Of course. Deflection. Blaming someone else instead of acknowledging his own behavior.
Then he flips it. Accuses her of monitoring his movements.
Projection. Accusing her of exactly what he's been doing. Another manipulation tactic.
He insists they had something special. His voice gets louder, starts drawing attention, probably trying to make her uncomfortable, make her back down.
Public scenes can be really intimidating. Makes it harder to stick to your decision.
But then he goes for the jugular. A really vicious personal attack. He brings up her breakup with her ex, Daniel.
Okay.
And he says the exact reason Daniel left her for a coworker. A detail Sophia had never told Alex. Ever.
Whoa. Okay, that's...
Yeah.
How could he possibly know that? That's not public knowledge. That's deeply private.
Chilling. Right. The violation is immense. She's stunned. Asks him straight up, how did you know that?
And his answer?
Weak denial. You must have mentioned it, which is clearly bogus. He knows he's been kicked out.
Absolutely. That confirms he has access to information he shouldn't. Private emails, messages. Something's been compromised.
Alex storms out, angry. Sophia's totally shaken, but it's not over.
Oh, no.
She gets back to her apartment building. Her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, casually mentions seeing Sophia's boyfriend, tall, dark hair, matching Alex's description at the building earlier that day, around noon, helping with groceries, apparently.
He didn't know where she lived. Or did he?
She never told him. This confirms he found her address and was physically watching her building.
Okay, this is full-blown stalking now. Physical surveillance on top of the digital.
And the final nail in the coffin. She walks into her apartment. Her laptop, open on the coffee table. She always closes it.
Oh, God. He was inside her apartment.
Looks like it. And the browser history searches for Daniel Reeves Architect, Daniel's Facebook profile, and access to her own email account.
Unbelievable. Unauthorized physical entry, accessing her private devices, her email, digging into her past relationship. This is a complete terrifying violation.
And then the texts start. Anonymous number.
Oh, no.
First one. You shouldn't have left your spare key under the mat. Too obvious.
But did she have a key there?
Nope, never.
So he's messing with her head, making her think he knows everything, even inventing details to make her paranoid. Classic gaslighting.
Exactly. Then the second text. I just wanted to understand you better. Now I do.
Chilling. That implies he's seen everything, knows everything, is deeply threatening.
She calls the police, obviously terrified. Officer Ramirez comes.
Hey, what can he do?
Not much, frustratingly. No forced entry signs, no explicit threats of violence in those texts. Just deeply unsettling behavior. Ramirez advises changing locks, passwords, maybe getting a restraining order if it escalates, which feels inadequate given what's happened.
It highlights a real gap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Law enforcement often needs something more concrete, especially early on, but the psychological terror is already immense.
So Sophia does it all, changes locks, changes passwords, goes to stay with Mia for safety.
Smart move. Get out of that physical space.
But the digital assault, it continues. Next morning, she gets an email. New account created, date match premium.
An app she didn't sign up for.
Nope. Someone made a fake profile in her name.
Ugh. That's another common tactic. Impersonation, reputation damage.
And it gets worse. Her actual dating profile, the one she used to meet Alex, it's been hacked. The bio is changed to something awful, like recently single and emotionally damaged, looking for meaningless hookups.
Oh, that's vile.
And her photos, replaced with revealing ones he must have scraped from her private Instagram account.
He got into her private Instagram, too. The level of intrusion is staggering.
The result. Her inbox explodes with horrible messages from strangers reacting to the fake, damaging profile. Total violation, total humiliation.
Deliberate sabotage of her personal life and reputation.
And it bleeds into work. Her boss emails her. Apparently, inappropriate content got linked to the company's social media, somehow traced back to her.
Wow, so now it's impacting her job, her livelihood. This is how online harassment destroys lives. It doesn't stay online.
The next few weeks are just A nightmare. Probation at work. Her new dating profiles get hacked repeatedly. Her email gets flooded with spam, unwanted subscriptions.
Constant harassment, designed to break her down.
Then unknown men start showing up near her apartment building, presumably guys who saw the fake profiles.
That's terrifying. Bringing the online harassment into the physical world, creating real danger.
And her credit card gets maxed out. Thousands spent on electronics, shipped to random
And
addresses.
financial fraud now, too.
Yeah. And the worst part, the bank says the charges were authorized from her IP address, using the correct security info.
How is that possible? Unless her devices or her home network are seriously compromised. This sounds like more than just guessing passwords.
That's what they start to think. This is sophisticated stuff.
And the police, still no help.
Still insufficient evidence. Maybe even a hint of, you weren't careful enough online.
Awful. Victim blaming when she's clearly under a sophisticated attack leaves her feeling totally alone.
So desperate, she goes full digital lockdown while staying with Mia. Deletes all social media, new email, new phone number, security cameras in Mia's place.
A digital scorched earth approach sometimes feels like the only option when you're under siege like that, trying to cut off every possible avenue of attack.
Mia's boyfriend, Jason, happens to be a cybersecurity specialist. He takes a look at everything.
Okay, good. Professional eyes on this.
And he confirms it immediately. This isn't basic hacking. The methods are sophisticated. This attacker knows what they're doing.
Vindicating. In a horrible way. It's not just her being careless. She's genuinely being targeted by someone skilled.
Jason asks some key questions then. Had Sophia ever been to Alex's place, met his friends, seen where he works?
And the answer.
No, to all of it. She realizes after weeks of dating, she knew absolutely nothing real about him. His entire persona could have been fake.
That's the danger zone with online dating, isn't it? How easily someone can construct a false identity. Verifying things is so important, but also difficult.
Jason connects them with a friend of his, Elena. She's a digital forensics expert.
Even better, specialized skills needed now.
Elena looks at Sophia's phone, her laptop, and confirms their worst fears. Clear signs of stalkerware.
Stalkerware. Nasty stuff. Basically spyware designed for monitoring someone without their knowledge.
Elena explains how easily it can be installed. Brief physical access is all it takes. Maybe when Alex borrowed her phone to take a picture or look something up.
Just a few seconds or minutes. It's chilling how quickly that breach can happen, and people often hand their phones over without thinking twice.
And they find it. Deep in Sophia's phone, disguised as a system process. Sophisticated stalkerware, sending her data location at minimum to an external server.
Hidden, constantly reporting her movements. Terrifying level of surveillance.
Elena suggests something risky. Leave the stalkerware active, temporarily.
Why? To trace it.
Exactly. Try to follow the data trail back to Alex or whoever's behind this. It's a gamble. In the meantime, Elena gives Sophia a clean burner phone for secure communication.
Calculated risk. Use the compromised device as bait while having a safe channel. Smart, but dangerous.
So the plan is, use the burner phone for real talk, but feed fake info, misleading details into the compromised phone. Try to confuse Alex, maybe get him to slip up.
Digital counterintelligence, turning their own surveillance against them.
Elena also checks Sophia's home router logs, confirms the extent of the breach. They were getting location, texts, emails, even accessing the phone's microphone.
Listening in on her conversations. Unbelievable violation.
But tracing the server is tough. The connection is bouncing through multiple proxies. Alex is covering his tracks well.
He knows about forensics. He's making it deliberately hard to find him. Professional level evasion.
Then, despite all this, the harassment ups the ante again. Sophia's at work, alone in her closed office. She gets a text. New number.
What did it say?
It mentioned the blue blouse she was wearing right then and there.
Oh my God. How could they know that? Is there a camera in her office? Or spyware on her work computer?
They don't know, but it confirms real-time surveillance, even in supposedly secure spaces. Pure terror tactic.
Making her feel like there's literally nowhere safe. Eyes are everywhere.
But Elena gets a break. The stalkerware server, it's registered to a company, Nexus Tech Solutions.
A name. Finally. A lead.
Jason uses his ISP contact to trace the user account linked to that Nexus Tech registration.
Okay. Getting closer to an actual person.
That same night, Sophia's working late again. Her office phone rings, her direct extension.
Okay.
Distorted voice. Knows she's alone, knows the building security is active. Taunting her.
Chilling. And where did the call come from?
Traced it to a vacant office in the same building.
What? So the perpetrator is physically inside her workplace. Or has access. That's terrifying. Major security breach.
And Elena finds out who registered the Nexus Tech account. A guy named Marcus Wells.
Marcus Wells.
His job title, software security consultant at Sentinel Systems.
Sentinel Systems. Wait, isn't that...
Yep. Her company's external security contractor.
Oh, no. So someone with legitimate high-level security access to her company not be involved.
Yeah.
That explains so much. The sophistication, the possible office access.
Exactly, but Sophia's reaction, she doesn't recognize the name Marcus Wells at all.
So maybe Alex Mitchell was an alias. Maybe Alex is Marcus.
That's the logical leap, right. But then they find Marcus Wells' LinkedIn profile, picture included.
Does he look like Alex?
Not even close. Looks completely different.
What? Okay, so Alex is Alex, Marcus is Marcus, but they're connected somehow. This is getting complicated. Two people involved.
Seems like it. So they decide to do some real-world recon. Risky, but necessary. They go to Marcus Wells' house.
Just to observe.
Yeah. And while they're watching, guess who shows up?
Alex.
Alex Mitchell. Walks right up to the door. Marcus lets him in. They embrace.
Embrace. Like friends or more.
Elena, watching their body language, says it looked close. More than just casual acquaintances. A definite partnership, at least.
Okay, so Alex and Marcus are definitely working together. But why? What's the connection? What's the motive?
Elena keeps digging into Marcus Wells.
Yeah.
And she finds the missing piece. The motive.
Who is it?
Marcus Wells got divorced 4 years ago from Daniel Reeves.
Daniel. Sophia's ex. The one Alex knew about.
The very same.
Oh my God. So Daniel left Marcus for Sophia.
Looks that way. And now Marcus, possibly with his new partner Alex, is targeting Sophia for revenge. It's twisted.
Utterly twisted. A revenge plot years in the making, fueled by that past relationship. That explains the focus on Daniel, this specific knowledge.
Just as they're processing that bombshell, another car pulls up to Marcus's house.
Who now?
Daniel Reeves himself gets out and goes inside.
What? Daniel is there. With Marcus and Alex. Is he in on this?
That's the horrifying question, isn't it? When Sophia sees him, the confusion, the sense of betrayal must be overwhelming. The man she dated, now seemingly consorting with the people terrorizing her.
It's a devastating blow. Adds another layer of personal violation.
Elena finds another piece of info. Daniel and his girlfriend after Sophia, Christine, they broke up shortly before all this harassment against Sophia started.
The timing. So maybe Daniel breaking up with Christine,
Right.
maybe him thinking about Sophia again, maybe that triggered Marcus.
That becomes Mia's theory. Maybe Marcus isn't just getting revenge on Sophia, but using Sophia to get at Daniel somehow. Sophia as a pawn in their toxic history.
God, that's even more messed up. Using her pain to hurt his ex.
Then, completely out of the blue, Sophia's burner phone rings. It's Daniel.
Daniel's calling her. What does he say?
He's warning her. Says Alex and Marcus are dangerous. He claims he only went to Marcus's house to confront them because he finally figured out what they were up to.
Okay. So maybe he's not involved. Or maybe he's trying to play both sides. Hard to know what to believe.
Exactly. So they arrange a meeting, Daniel and Sophia. Very public place, crowded cafe. Elena and Jason are nearby doing surveillance just in case.
Smart. Need backup. How does Daniel seem?
Haggard. Stressed. Genuinely distressed, it looks like.
What's his story?
He confirms his past relationship with Marcus was bad. Controlling, isolating. Marcus monitored him constantly. Paints a picture of Marcus as deeply possessive.
Which fits with the revenge motive, right? Losing control over Daniel set him off.
Daniel says he reconnected with Marcus after breaking up with Christine. Just as friends, initially. He claims he only found out about the plot against Sophia when he, Daniel, mentioned missing Sophia and maybe wanting to reconnect.
So Daniel talking about Sophia did trigger it. Marcus couldn't handle the idea of them getting back together.
That's Daniel's claim. He also confirms Alex is Marcus's current partner, and that Alex's specialty is social engineering penetration testing.
Ah, okay. So Alex is basically a professional manipulator. His job is literally to trick and exploit people psychologically. That explains his effectiveness.
Daniel also claims Marcus threatened him, said if Daniel warned Sophia, Marcus would release private, compromising photos of Sophia.
Blackmail. So Daniel was potentially coerced into silence, or at least into seeming complicit. That explains why he was at the house.
Possibly. It makes his position more complex, less clear-cut villain.
If true, still requires a leap of faith to trust him fully now.
Absolutely. But then Daniel drops the biggest bombshell yet. He says he saw something on Marcus's computer. A final phase to their plan.
Final phase. Worse than what they've already done.
Much worse. Something with real-world consequences beyond just harassment.
What is it? What's the plan?
Daniel says they plan to use Sophia's work credentials. Somehow Marcus got them to transfer a huge amount of client funds.
Embezzlement. Framing her for financial fraud.
Exactly. Ruin her career, land her in prison. Devastating.
My God. That's endgame stuff.
Elena immediately says, go to the police now.
Right. With this specific info.
But Daniel is hesitant. He says Alex is too good at covering tracks. They'll deny everything, wipe the evidence. He thinks they need irrefutable proof first.
She might have a point, given Alex's skills, but it's risky waiting.
So Daniel proposes his own risky plan. Marcus is hosting a tech industry dinner party soon. Daniel will create a diversion, a scene, something to draw Marcus and Alex away.
And while they're distracted,
Elena and Jason sneak into Marcus's home office, access his computer, and find that proof. Download the plan.
wow, that's incredibly high risk. A B&E during a party. So much could go wrong.
But it feels like their only shot. So the night of the party, Sophia, Elena, Jason are outside Marcus's house, watching on hidden cams they planted earlier.
The nerves must be shredded.
Totally. Inside, Daniel plays his part. Clumsily spills wine all over some important guest. Creates a commotion.
The diversion. Does it work?
Perfectly. Marcus and Alex are drawn away. Elena and Jason slip inside, find the office, get onto Marcus's computer.
Task work needed.
They find an encrypted file. Sophia Project. Starts downloading.
That's got to be it.
But while it's downloading, they hear Marcus and Alex coming back towards the office, arguing. Marcus is pissed about Daniel acting weird.
Getting suspicious.
Marcus confirms the fund transfer is set for midnight. But then Alex asks about the failsafe. Says something like, is the failsafe still good to go?
The failsafe. What failsafe? They didn't know about a failsafe.
Oh, nope. New, terrifying variable. What else do they have planned?
Oh, God.
Elena gets the file downloaded just as the doorknob turns. They dive into a closet. Heart-stopping moment.
Hiding in the closet while the villains are in the room. Straight out of a movie.
They overhear Marcus confirming midnight for the transfer. Alex asks again about the failsafe. Marcus dismisses Daniel, just says, don't worry, the failsafe is in place.
He sounds confident. This failsafe is definitely happening.
They manage to sneak out after Marcus and Alex leave the office, escape the house. But Sophia's freaking out. What is the failsafe? Is it already happening?
They need to decrypt that file fast.
Back at their safe house, Elena works on it. Decrypts Sophia Project. Inside. Details of Operation Ghost.
Operation Ghost. Sounds ominous.
It is. The financial fraud was just part of it. The main plan is even worse.
How could it be worse?
They've created a complete fake online shadow profile for Sophia, filled it with fabricated evidence, dark web drug buys, communications with criminals. Completely fake, but designed to look real.
Oh, wait.
At midnight, an anonymous tip is scheduled to go to the FBI Cybercrime Division, pointing them to the shadow profile. Enough evidence to get an instant warrant for her arrest.
Framing her not just as an embezzler, but as a serious criminal involved in dark web stuff.
Yeah.
They want to utterly destroy her, bury her.
Exactly. Luckily, Jason has that FBI contact. They call him immediately, feed him the info. Time is running out. Midnight is approaching.
Okay, at least the FBI is aware now.
Yeah.
Can they intervene?
Hopefully, but then Sophia gets a call from Daniel on the burner. He's frantic. Says Marcus knows someone was on his computer. They need to run. And he mentions overhearing Alex talking about going live with the stream at midnight.
The stream. What stream?
Daniel doesn't know. Just that it's happening at midnight. Another terrifying unknown.
This is escalating by the second.
Elena, digging deeper into the decrypted files from Marcus's machine, finds something else. Floor plans. Network diagrams.
Of what?
Of Sophia's apartment. Showing they didn't just hack her accounts, they hacked her smart home system.
Her smart home. Lights.
Yeah.
Locks.
Everything. And worse, the plans show locations of hidden cameras they installed inside her apartment.
Hidden cameras. In her home. That's how they knew about the blue blouse.
Oh.
They've been watching her physically inside her own apartment.
Total violation doesn't even begin to cover it. They had complete remote access.
The absolute depravity.
And then she finds the details of the failsafe, the stream.
What is it?
At midnight, a pre-programmed live stream starts from the hidden cameras in her apartment, spliced with fake video to make it look like she's doing illegal things.
Broadcasting fabricated criminal activity live from her home.
Yes, and that's not all. The failsafe has a physical component.
Oh, no.
A rigged gas line in her apartment, set to detonate at 12:15 a.m.
An explosion. They're planning to kill her.
and make it look like an accident. The criminal dies in an explosion related to her illegal activities seen on the live stream. A complete, deadly narrative.
This is monstrous.
Yeah.
Pure evil.
Sophia's first thought, even then, her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, the other people in the building, they have no regard for innocent lives.
Just collateral damage in their sick game.
Jason's FBI contact is clear. Priority 1 is stopping that stream and preventing the explosion. Forget the money transfer for now. Prevent the loss of life.
Absolutely, seconds count.
Then Sophia's phone rings. It's Alex.
Alex, calling her now.
Yeah. He knows they have the files, demands them back, taunts her, says the digital and physical explosion is coming.
Yeah.
He says they have Daniel.
They kidnapped Daniel.
Looks like it. Holding him hostage now. The situation is completely out of control.
What does Alex want?
The files. Meet him in a nearby park. 20 minutes. Bring the files. Daniel lives. Call the cops. Daniel dies.
An impossible choice. A trap, almost certainly.
Sophia makes a desperate call. She'll go, but she'll take a decoy USB drive. Blank, corrupted files.
Stall him. Buy time.
Exactly. Buy time for Elena and Jason to race to her apartment, find that rigged gas device, and disarm it before 12.15. It's insanely risky.
Putting herself right back in the lion's den. Incredible bravery.
So the park, 11:45 p.m., Sophia meets Alex.
Must be terrifying.
Alex starts taunting her, talking about their psychological warfare, how resilient she's been, no remorse at all.
Just cold, calculated cruelty.
He confirms it was all about Marcus's obsession with Daniel. That possessiveness fueled the entire thing.
Thickening.
Sophia gets a text from Elena. In position. Need 10 more minutes.
Cutting it close. Inside the apartment, looking for the device.
Alex then boasts, says he's done this kind of thing before. For corporations, wealthy clients, the psychological warfare is his trade.
He's a mercenary of misery. Does this for money. Unbelievable. There could be a whole network.
Sophia confronts him, asks about the explosion, the innocent people in her building. Does he care? She sees. Maybe a flicker. A tiny hesitation.
Maybe a sliver of conscience buried deep down. Or just surprised she's still fighting back.
Alex checks the USB drive she gave him, sees the files are fake, corrupted. He's furious.
The bluff is called.
Just then, another text from Elena. Found it. Disarming now.
Yes, they found it.
Alex makes a panicked call, presumably to Marcus, then turns to Sophia. Plan B, accelerating. Stream goes live, and now W, device triggers in 5 minutes.
It's triggering it early. Oh my God.
Sophia doesn't think. She just reacts, tackles him. They struggle. He's stronger, gets the upper hand.
No.
But then, flashing lights, sirens. Daniel bursts out of the darkness with police officers. And an FBI agent.
They got there. Daniel alerted them.
Yes, the cavalry arrives. With Alex pinned, Sophia grabs his phone, forces him to input the disarm code for the remote trigger.
Did it work?
Elena texts seconds later. Deactivated.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
It's over. Alex is arrested. Marcus is picked up nearby. Daniel explains he managed to call 911 during the commotion, gave them the location and the accelerated timeline.
Daniel came through in the end.
Wow. FBI agent Rivera takes charge, confirms both suspects are in custody, assures Sophia they'll investigate fully, including Alex's claims about other clients. This might be bigger than just her case.
It probably is. This kind of service, horrifying thought.
They start dismantling Marcus and Alex's tech setup. Agent Rivera promises FBI resources to help Sophia clean up the digital mess, the fake profiles, the damage to her reputation. It'll be a long road, but she won't be alone.
That's crucial. The recovery is part of the justice.
Sophia just looks on, processing the sheer extremity of it all, how far they were willing to go. Agent Rivera acknowledges these cases are getting more common, more sophisticated, but there are ways to fight back. New tools, new strategies.
A somber reminder, but also a note of hope. We're learning how to combat this.
Daniel approaches Sophia, apologizes profusely for his part, even unintentional. How does she respond?
Uncertainly. The trauma is too fresh. Trust is shattered. The future between them is a huge question mark. It's realistic.
Exactly. No easy answers after something like this.
So the story ends there, with Sophia watching the aftermath.
Pretty much. Watching the authorities work, feeling maybe the first sense of possibility that she can reclaim her life. She recognizes a strength in herself she didn't know she had, the resilience, and maybe eventually she'll re-enter the digital world, but differently, wiser, on her own terms.
A powerful ending. Survival, resilience, and a hard-won understanding.
So this deep dive, it really lays bare how terrifyingly technology can be weaponized, right into the most personal parts of our lives. For you, the learner, listening to this, It just hammers home how vital digital security is, thinking about what you share, who you trust online.
And recognizing those red flags, even the subtle ones, early on, trusting your gut when something feels off. Because this story shows how insidiously manipulation works, how reality can be warped online.
Absolutely. You have to be vigilant, think critically about those connections.
It also makes you think, doesn't it? About the platforms themselves, dating apps, social media. What's their responsibility in preventing this kind of abuse? Ensuring user safety?
That's a huge question. That balance between easy connection and, well, actual safety. It's tough. So, thinking about your own digital life, what measures do you take? How do you protect your identity online?
This story, yeah, it's fictional, but it echoes so many real-world fears and incidents. Maybe the next step for listeners is looking into more robust security practices, understanding what legal options exist if something like this, God forbid, happens.
Definitely worth thinking about being proactive, not just reactive.